And then on June 10th, at like 5:45 in the morning, I'm sleeping in the way my house is situated. The first 2 rooms up front was my best friend and his sons. I had a couple in the front room, and then I'd go down the hallway, and then I had the back room, right? And so this is before I woke up. My best friend, he goes to the bathroom, and as he's going back, he hears banging on the door, and he looks out the window and sees see the law enforcement. So he goes out because he didn't want his sons to wake up. So they're holding ARs ready to go. And so he said he opened the door, put his hands out. They pushed the door open, grabbed him, slammed him against the wall. Ooh. Right there. That window that he looked at, that's where their bed is. So his sons now are looking at their dad with guns pointed to the back of his head being cuffed.
What did they say his dad did wrong?
Well, they were just doing a raid.
What was the accusation?
They were just doing a raid, so they need to clear the house. So everyone, and when they do that, everyone gets cuffed and taken out of the house.
Okay.
So
what I'm saying is, what do you think they would have said the justification was for coming in hot like that?
J6.
Yeah, but what about J6? Are they accusing you of?
They were ultimately, I think they thought that I was connected with. So the guy that I ran into, Russ, they were indicted the day they raided my home. I was on a Telegram group with him and I don't know 100+ people. And I don't know if you've ever been on Telegram.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so it was one of a new encrypted kind of social media text messaging thing that started coming up, and people. The one problem with Telegram is people just throwing people in different groups. So all of a sudden now you're part of like 6 or 7 different groups. SoCal, MAGA for Trump, all these different groups, and I'm like, okay, whatever. If you missed a day, you go back and there's 500 messages. I'm like, I'm not reading all these damn messages.
I have a life.
Like, seriously. That's actually what I told the guy. He was like, because he came in when they did. Well, let me break it down. So they take him away, Brian. They take the other 2, and I'm in bed, and I'm hearing FBI, 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 and I'm like, it's kind of like you're coming to consciousness as you're sleeping. I'm laying there. I thought it was a dream, and then I start getting consciousness, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I'm like, no way. So I put my glasses on. Luckily, that night I wasn't just sleeping in my underwear. I wore sweatpants.
Yeah. And
I opened the door. As soon as I opened the door, because I have a dog too, and my dog rushes out, and they turn ARs, 2 got cut right in my face. FBI, hands up! I'm like, please don't shoot my dog. She's a nice dog. And then I hear him, friendly dog, friendly dog, friendly dog. They come and they grab me, cuff me up, and the lead agent, Chad Warren, grabs me, and he's like, I was like, I want to see the warrant. We'll give it to you after we clear the house. I was like, I want to call my lawyer. He's like, well, it's not an arrest, so it's not like that. I was like, I want to talk to my lawyer. He goes, not like that. We'll clear everything up after we clear the house. They're taking me out, take me down that driveway I was telling you back to Charlotte walked. We have a little gated fence, and as we get outside the gate, I look over, and there's another agent standing on the gate, looking down the side of the house with his gun just waiting, as if somebody comes running out, he's going to take him out. And I'm just like looking around like, what's going on? No one has ever seen me, and I've never worn any protective gear at any of the rallies or in DC. I've always been a shirt, t-shirt, and a hat, or whatever. They came at me and at our house like I run guns or like I have drugs or women or something like that, I'm like, this guy's standing there as if someone comes out, he's going to take him out, like we're hiding illegals in the basement or something. It just really blew my mind to the level that this was happening. There's cars all out in my street. I look over, and the only person that I recognized, because I couldn't see anyone else, they had Bryson, the younger one. He was 3 at the time, and they were the lady was holding him, put him in the car. And I'm like, dude, what's going on? He goes, wait there. We cleared the house. They put me up against my wall. I'm just sitting there. They're like, all right, we clear. We can go back in. So I go back in. Or I'm sitting, they put me back in. I'm sitting on the couch. They let my dog in. So I'm rubbing, saying what's up to Ginger. Then they let the kids in. It was like an emotional thing. Then they let the boys in next, and the boys come running in. They hug me, and they let the 2 roommates, the couple, take Ginger over to their new place. They were moving out in a few months or a few weeks anyway, and they let Brian take the kids to his ex-wife, and that's when they came in and started questioning me. And they were like, oh, you were on this Telegram group with Russ Taylor, and Russ did this, that, and the other. He's like, did you hear anything about them wanting to transfer guns over state lines? I'm like, what? He's like, it's in that Telegram group. I'm like, bro, have you ever missed a day on Telegram? He's like, yeah. He's like, you see all those messages? I go, I don't have time for that. I go, I didn't see anything like that, but I don't have time to go read through all those messages. Like, I got a life. I got stuff to do. And then they're like, well, you know, because what him and this other guy did in there was disgusting. And da-da-da-da. I'm like, all right. Like, I go, look, the Russ that I know, that's not the Russ I know. That's all I can talk about. I can't talk about anything else. I can't talk about what he did or didn't do because I don't know. Mm-hmm. But the guy that I know is a nice dude. Like, I went to his birthday party. Like, that's it. I was a lot more emotional than I am now. I'm like, and this is not America. I was like, you coming into people's homes like this is not America. I didn't do anything wrong, and you're raiding my house. My family left another country to come here, and not for this not to happen. Our country was in a 20-year civil war up until George Bush ended it. So we know what it's like when it's warlords are just coming in guns ablazing, kicking in people's doors. And I'm like, this is not the country. And one thing that got me, there was a montage on NBC where Brian Williams was doing a voiceover for Antifa. And he goes, Antifa was there on the shores of Normandy. Antifa helped to break down. This literally, people can go look this up. It's real. And I'm like, are you kidding me? NBC is trying to say Antifa was what stopped the Nazis and glorifying them. And I made that statement. I go, this country is losing itself. Like, I just saw this and I make that point about Antifa stopping Nazis and fascism. And the lead agent, Chad, goes, oh yeah. I'm like, uh-oh. So I already knew this guy is not a good dude. Something else is going on here, or he's just lost. So I just really kept talking about how this is not America. This is messed up that you guys are doing this, you know. And he was like, then one of the agents came and go, all right, we got the stuff they were looking for. So I go back in, and my kitchen table was like this. And so they had my MAGA hat, my cell phone, my laptop, my flash drives, my portable drive, hard drive, sorry. And I'm just like, are you taking my hat, man? Like, I got that at the only Trump rally I ever went to, which was at the time was in August in Vegas. Me and my buddy went, and somebody gave me a MAGA hat. And mind you, I voted for him in 2016, but this is 2020. This is the first time I ever put on a MAGA hat, was that hat. I'm like, guys, really, dude? Like, you're going to take my hat? They're like, well, we saw you on CCTV with it. So I'm like,
so what?
Yeah. I'm like, all right, whatever, man.
Yeah.
So that lasted, it was about 6 to noon. They leave. When they leave, my best friend comes back in, and he'd been live on Instagram off our Chief and Americano thing. So he comes in, and we're live, and we set it up, and I'm just going off. I'm like, this isn't America. They came in, and I'm just going off about everything that happened. And I can be a very emotional person, so I had some tears going. I mean, this was a pretty wild incident. Yeah. Then after that, about 2 days after that, because it was a Thursday, that Saturday, because the LA Times had reached out to us, and we didn't answer, but they had got in touch with my buddy's ex-wife, and she made a statement, which is like, you just don't talk to media. My mom ignored him, because the same thing, my mom was like, it was so crazy, because I remember I told you about how I was on the newspapers for getting a DUI back in college, and it felt like the end of the world, all that stuff. Yeah. God was preparing me for this. Because when this started happening, that Saturday morning, I go, the news is talking about or reaching out to people, and I know what they're doing. They're trying to set something up to go, oh, actor, da-da-da-da. They're trying to make a statement out of it. But I did nothing wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. They're just gonna like paint it as a problem. Later that afternoon, 2 hours after I made that video that's still on my Instagram right now, LA Times goes, Netflix actor rated. Daily Mail in England, Netflix actor. Like Chicago Tribune, all these big papers are poof. And in there, in the story to go, he was rated from this day for being a January 6th. He's known for going to Trump rallies and telling people to run for local office. That's what I was known for in their own writing. Like, think about that. I'm so dangerous, and they have to make a big splash, but it wasn't about the crux of the article. It was about the headline. That's all it was about. So, that was June. All that stuff started happening. I wasn't in a sense known in the conservative world yet, so I was just kind of trying to get the message out there. Look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. That's when I was like, screw it. I'm going to run for office when we had the next year. I was like, I don't care, J6. But I got in touch with a lawyer, Larry Clayman. I connected with him, and And we initially filed a lawsuit against the FBI, against those agents for violating my First and Fourth Amendment right. So that lawsuit lasted for about 3 years, kept going up the ladder. We were supposed to have oral arguments of August, bless you. August of 23, we're supposed to have oral arguments. Then something happened where they removed this one judge who was our judge, who was a Reagan appointee. They removed him from all Trump's cases in LA or in California on the Ninth Circuit, which of course was one of ours. So then the judges that got ours were 3 liberal judges. I want to say it was 2 Obama and a Clinton. And so they wrote an opinion saying, well, if you were supposed to go take your complaint to the executive branch, sorry, bye. So it got all the way to the California Supreme Court, and they're like, nope, you're supposed to take this to something else. Mm-hmm. And we're like, and it's funny that then 2 months later, right at the end of it was actually 3 months later, November 30th, coming back from it was the Lady Ballers premiere. I did the movie Lady Ballers of Daily Wire.
Were you in that?
Yeah, okay. I was in that. I played Deuce Johnson, okay. the announcer. Uh-huh. And so we're coming back. My wife at this point is 7 months pregnant, and we get off. We land at Burbank Airport. Burbank's a smaller airport, so when we land and you walk on the tarmac. You don't have to walk on a little kind of apparatus to get into the terminals. So my wife and a friend of ours who was in the movie as well, we get down, and as soon as I step onto the tarmac, I look over and I saw there were 4 people looking at me or looking at the direction, and just something was weird, I was just kind of looking up, waiting for something. I was like, all right, well, whatever. As soon as I step, the female agent comes in front of me. She goes, Siaka Massaquoi? I'm like, yeah. She goes, can you come with us, please? And also an agent on either side of me. Oh. They're like, this is 3 years after the raid. Oh my! I didn't get arrested or charged after the raid. Went and sued them instead, which I actually think kept them away from coming and getting me initially. That's just my own personal beliefs. That went on for 3 years. And a few months after the courts denied, then they came after me in the raid, or came after me to arrest me. Now, the arrest warrant was issued on November 15th. They waited 2 weeks to come and get me on the 30th. So they could have got me any time, but they waited till I was coming back from the premiere on purpose because they wanted to get it onto the news media. Oh. So they come and the guys grab me and they're like, you have to come with us. I'm like, for what? They're like, you're under arrest. I'm like, you tell me what I'm going to jail for or I'm not going. And my wife's now separated, so they didn't let us say goodbye or anything. And they're like, it's for the guy over here on this side was shaking, right? And he's just, and I'm like, dude, I'm literally, I was wearing a Barnabas shirt that had Jesus Saves on the back. This is great. So I had Barnabas shirt, I'm wearing sweatpants, and I think actually I was wearing these shoes. and I had a little hat on, and he's shaking, and I'm like,
why is he shaking? What do you mean?
He's holding me, but he can tell his adrenaline's rushing. Oh. He wants to do something. I've been training martial arts my whole life. I can tell when someone's hyped up. Amped, yeah. And I'm just like, and he goes, and I'm like, no, you're going to tell me. And so it was 2 agents here, the female left and this other male here. And he goes, the guy goes, he goes, for January 6th. I go, I didn't do anything on January 6th. And then the guy here goes, don't talk about it. I go, he brought it up. And so I'm like, look, guys, I'm not going to do anything. There's 4 airport police. You guys all have guns, but I can be pissed. I can be upset that this is happening. I'm not crazy. I got my wife there. She's pregnant. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to try to John Wick anybody. Chill out, And the guy's who was right there. He goes, look, man, we're just trying to make this easy. We're not trying to embarrass you. I go, it's too late. You took me off the plane. Everyone's watching. What are you talking about? He's like, all right, look, you're going to spend a night in jail. This is happening. So we're just trying to make it easy as possible. I'm like,
I'm gay. I'm gay.
Right. I was actually thinking, I was like, oh, damn it. Here we go again. But we ended up, because the LA County Jail, by God's grace, was closed for the night. So they had Monterey Park Jail, which is a smaller jail. So they're taking me in the car. I'm in the car with the female and this other agent, and I'm just railing. I'm like, man, this is bullshit. You guys knew where I was. I was like, at this point, I ran for office. I'm vice chair of LA County, the largest county in America for the LA GOP. My wife's 7 months pregnant. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You guys could have called me. You could have called me. And I kept saying this over and over. The guy finally says, well, we didn't want you to be prepared. I was like, oh, that's what it's about. I go, and I know what this is. You're just doing this to get a headline. I didn't do anything. You're doing this so you can plaster up actor, finally arrested, this, that. And I was like, I know, because that's the same thing you guys did after you raided my house. I'm like, well, what's my charges? He goes, we'll tell you when we get to the jail. I'm like, okay. We get to the jail, and I'm sitting there, and the guy comes over, and he's like, all right. He's like, well, he goes, here's your charges. And he's like, it's all of them misdemeanor, 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 misdemeanor. I'm like, you guys came like this for me for misdemeanors? Are you serious? He's like, yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, whatever, man. Like, I just stopped kind of worldly fighting. And I was like, okay, I'm here now. This is what I'm going to be. I'm just going to try to be calm.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.